I don't remember the exact date, but I know it was the first week of November 2019. My boys and some of their friends made a trip to McDonald's, and teenage boys, when they go to McDonald's, they usually don't bring any food back. But this was an odd occasion. For some reason, they brought back a Big Mac. And that Big Mac was placed in a bag on our cabinet, on our countertop, and it stayed there overnight because I guess we just weren't used to having food around the house. And so the next day we get up, the Big Mac is still there. And I was like, hey, who wants a Big Mac for breakfast? Of course, nobody wanted it because it had sat out all night. I was ready to toss it in the trash, and Wava stopped me and she said, let's do a little experiment. Let's keep that for like a week and just see what happens, see if it changes. And so we did, and after a week, I'll be honest, the Big Mac didn't change hardly at all. You can draw your own conclusions from that. So we took the Big Mac after about a week, we put it up in the cabinet, kind of out of sight, out of mind. We did just forget about it. It lived in our cabinet for months until finally, this is your Big Mac. This one is 16 months old. As you can tell, it still looks kind of similar, but what you would notice about it is very hard. The bread's super hard. The lettuce, the onions, the condiments, they've kind of evaporated. But on the outside, it still looks okay. You can't eat this thing, so don't even try. What does that have to do with anything? Well, I think a lot of times as Christians, we can allow the same things to happen to us, where we look okay on the outside, but on the inside, our heart's hardened and we're stale and we're not productive. We're not doing anything for Christ that He wants us to do. How does that happen? In Romans 12, verse 1 and 2, it talks about that we're not to conform to the patterns of this world, but we're to be transformed by the renewing of our mind. It's a daily renewal because it's so easy to conform to the patterns of this world and the thinking of this culture. For example, the thinking of this culture, there's fear, there is laziness, there's selfishness, self-centeredness, there's anxiety and worry and doubt, there's anger and jealousy, there's negativity, there's pride, there's complaining, all these things, right? We see it. And if we're not careful, we can become part of that, and our mind becomes very hardened and we become ineffective as Christians. And so continue to work out your salvation so that you don't become like this Big Mac, hardened and stale and ineffective in your walk with Christ. And so I don't know where you are spiritually right now, but I just challenge you, don't conform to the patterns of the world and the world's thinking, but be transformed daily by the renewing of your mind and continue to grow in your relationship with Christ.